We are legends.
Welcome to We RRR Legends, the unofficial podcast for DC Legends Mobile. I am Slow Beast, and with me, as always, is Hate Mail. We have a lot to talk about today, so let's get right into it.
Breaking news.
Welcome back. How was your Christmas break?
It was pretty good. I went up to North Carolina, got to do a little bit of skiing, went to the Panthers-Bucks game, so that was pretty fun. And the fact that I remember this Christmas and wasn't doing chemotherapy through Christmas was pretty nice.
It's a big upgrade from last year.
Yeah, huge upgrade.
Yep, and of course, as soon as we got done recording our pre-recorded episodes, the big news dropped. Our new community manager was busy, and he let out of the bag that they're going to be Power Girl, Last Daughter of Earth 2, and Superboy John Kent coming out for this month. Of course, everyone knows now, but he did leak it a little early.
I think it might be a she, actually, so I'm not positive.
Oh, okay. Well, he, community manager.
Shim.
Shim.
So,
Yeah, and Power Girl looks like she's going to be pretty tanky. She's got some taunts and death immunity and stuff going on for her. And Superboy's got something a little different, a new ability coming to the game called True Sight. What do you think about that?
well, first on Power Girl, I honestly think she's going to be the next meta-changing character. I don't know that for sure. I did watch, right before this, I saw somebody posted a video of her at rank 2. They must have bought one of the $25 packs and geared her out. She kind of reminds me of not quite as tanky as some of the other tanky characters, but she reminds me a lot of Arcus, and she gets all the power from those strength up, and I have a feeling she's going to do massive damage. So she does seem like she could be a meta-changing character, and having an energy tank is one of the things I feel like we've really been missing. I mean, we have Superman and a few others, but
yeah, energy tank is going to be really tough, especially in this meta. I could see that. That's interesting that you're already calling for that. I mean, I hope you're right. That'd be
I don't
great,
know if that's
especially
for
with
sure.
this being the easier to get character of the two. That would be great.
I just get that vibe from her. I could be completely wrong, but
Oh, I mean, of course, but just your early intuition. I'll take that.
and if they fix the bugs on Red Hood, that would be the end of the heavy, run her, Steppenwolf, Red Hood lead, and I think that would take out what the normal meta is right now with Deathstroke and all them. So
Sure. And then the True Sight ability that Superboy's bringing.
Superboy's True Sight seems really interesting, and he has special damage, which I like. So being able to go around the taunts, being able to steal buffs. I think pairing him with I don't think he could do it on his own, but pairing him with some of the other characters he seems really interesting. I think he's one of those characters that it's hard to tell right now, but he could be a game-changing kind of character. It's just hard to tell. I can't quite get a grab on him.
It looks like if you look at his last ability there, it says gain 8% turn meter up if any hero has taunt or invisibility. And then his legendaries apply turn meter up plus 5% to random allies. So he may not be a fast character at first, but it looks like he can definitely get fast depending on what team you put him with. That's begging for Harley Quinn to be on his team right there.
Well, or facing against it, so because it's any hero. So that's.
I believe it says each allies. Yeah, it's only allies.
Oh, okay, you're right. Well, at the end of each ally's turn, gain 8% turn meter up if any hero has taunt or invisible. So I don't know if they are.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so at the end of your
So
own
at the
turn,
end of each ally's turn, if anyone has taunt, he gets 8% turn meter.
so
Okay, I think
you
you're
may
reading
not.
that right.
Yeah, you may not have to have it on your team, but if you do, I guess it still applies. So that's pretty awesome. Then you pair him with Steppenwolf to get all the extra turn meter up. You could be taking a ton of turns, and if you have Red Hood on your team on top of that, doing the turn meter down to the enemy team, you could be taking a ton of turns. So there's a lot of potential with that.
Yeah, he's interesting, and this True Sight ability is going to be pretty interesting too. Kind of like an anti-Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I'm excited to use him. I hope that, and we'll get into this later when we talk about the sales, but I just hope they do his stupid 250 plus 25k frag deal soon, because me and several other people have been patiently waiting that. And
All the whales just sitting there waiting.
yeah, we're not happy it hasn't come out yet.
Money in their hand.
Yeah, this game, we're willing to just, this game could have so much more of our money if they just stop jerking around.
Yeah. All right. Our Alliance Challenge Heroes this rundown is going to be Reverse Flash, Professor Zoom, and then the second one is Superboy. There was a little bit of a upset about that. We'll talk about it in a moment. Shazam, Billy Bastion, Power Girl, Last Star Earth 2, and Black Adam. And that's going to be your Alliance Challenge Heroes, the +5 heroes that you use for your Alliance rewards.
Yeah, which what we expected anyway, because those are all the new characters, and the only
Yeah.
exception is Reverse Flash, which is nice because I'd say a good chunk of the population has Reverse Flash. So
Yep. It was fun to pull him out and use him again. I forgot how fun he is. Then our PvP rewards. We've got Red Hood this week. Next
I'm
week's
excited
gonna be
about that. I mean, I don't need his shards at all, but
Want to see anytime you see more Red Hood, it changes that meta more.
yeah, it just gets rid of more Deathstrokes. But the problem is and I'll go ahead and mention this now, is I can't believe they let it go all the way through the holidays with the stupid bugs. And if you don't have Red Hood, if you use Red Hood as leader, it doesn't even matter if you're facing revivers. Even without revivers, it will crash your game. So you have to completely exit out the entire game and log back in. Most of the time, it does record the win, thankfully, if you
Mm-hmm.
won the match. But if there's other revivers, I posted a video, which I'll have a copy of it in this, where if you have multiple revivers, you get these weird shadow demons that come and attack you at the end of the match. The match ends, then you start getting attacked by creatures that are invisible, and then you lose the match, and you have to. Well, you don't lose it, but you don't win the match, and you lose your energy, so you might as well have lost the match,
Sure.
and you have to reboot your machine, and you can't beat that match.
I did see that you posted a video of it and you got a response immediately from the new community manager, correct?
Yeah, when I posted it on Reddit or one of the places, he did respond rather quick. He or she responded really quickly and said that they're working on it. But that was a while before Christmas, and we're well past Christmas, and now it's the PvP week, and still no fix in sight. So I would have hoped that maybe everybody's back to work today and they're working on it. But it is
Yeah.
very disappointing that it's gone on this long. And if it goes through the entire PvP week and everybody's getting Red Hood, it doesn't give you a lot of incentive to gear it out. So it's pretty sad that we've gone like almost 3 weeks with bugs. And they managed to
Yeah.
fix the bug that was nice, that caused no revives from
Yeah.
Baby Lobo,
Yeah.
really fast.
Unfortunately.
So it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they are just getting back from holiday, so hopefully it may have been something that they're looking for, what's causing that bug. So hopefully they'll figure it out. But I'm just glad that we got some kind of response immediately, like, hey, we know this is a
Yeah,
problem.
I mean,
So that is a nice change.
yeah, we set the bar very low with communication
We
on this game.
it's unfortunately we are, but got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, we have
Uh,
the battered wife syndrome. So if they do anything positive, we come running back with open arms.
yes. Then the week after that is going to be Shazam. We'll talk about him in a moment. You're not too excited about.
Oh
Or
no,
no,
I'm
I apologize.
yeah,
Black
I'm very
Adam's the
excited
one you're
about
not
Shazam.
I apologize. So Shazam will be the week after that. Superboy, we're going to be getting the week of the 15th to the 22nd, and then Black Adam will finish off this PvP cycle. And they changed the completion hero to Flash. So you are not excited about Black Adam, but you are excited about Shazam.
Yeah,
We'll
Black
talk
Adam's
about
not
that
bad.
more.
We'll talk about that more.
Yeah. Okay. Our 6-day challenges for the shards you can get. I got Poison Ivy, Joker, Clown, Prince of Crime, and then a Power Girl 10-day event. So we'll be able to get all our Power Girl shards. This doesn't seem correct. Isn't there 2 Power Girl events?
Yeah, just cut off, but it's the same thing. So
Oh, okay.
she gets her 2 weeks like usual. Everything's normal on that.
Yep. So I mean, we've got some content coming out here. Nothing surprising, nothing unexpected coming out for this month. But just moving on with the same old stuff again every month. All right, and it's time once again for some in-depth character analysis with Hate. Who you got for us?
All right, this week we will do the rework characters. So let's start with, and then we also will briefly touch on Cyborg Superman. First one is Black Adam. I'm not super impressed with him. He's not a terrible character. I mean, he's definitely not bad. I wouldn't say he's much. He's probably slightly better than he was before. So at
Mm-hmm.
least he wasn't downgraded like Joker Clown Prince was.
Sure.
But he's definitely a decent character. His third ability hits quite hard, and since it does special damage, is nice. His kind of theme is turn meter up, so you kill enemies, get turn meter up,
He gets faster, can
and
attack more.
It does work fairly well, but in PvP purposes, it's just not quite good enough. What I do find him quite useful for, and I'm actually kind of happy I geared him out, is for PvE content. So, like when I'm farming the legendary essence mission, if you put him on his team, he just keeps taking turns because he kills people, takes more and more turns,
Okay.
and so that's actually pretty fun. Based on my early testing, and keep in mind this may change as I play more, but I would probably go 4-2-1-3-3. I don't really find any of his skills to be must-have upgrades, so if you think something's better, you might be onto something because I haven't really quite found where he's great.
You
I
haven't
granted,
figured out how to use them perfectly yet for
yeah, I'm
PvP.
gonna try to test him some more with some turn meter teams, but I really haven't had the time to mess with him a whole lot. I want to get him to Legendary 4, which I'm not far from. I've been buying him in the Alliance missions, but once he has his PvP week, I'll probably play with him a whole lot more and get back to you on that. But he's not a bad character. I wouldn't go out
Yeah.
of your way to gear him though.
Well, I when it was announced that he was reworked, I went ahead and got him as high up as I can get him. I'm a few shards away from getting him to Legendary 1, and then I kind of got, we talked a little bit. I got a little bit of your feedback, so I slowed down on gearing him out. But hearing how good he is in PVE, hopefully with new PVE coming out this year, I may keep that in consideration and try to
His
work on
biggest
getting him.
problem is his basic. I mean, it hits like a wet paper towel. Like it does nothing to
Yeah,
it does nothing to greens.
I just thought that was because I didn't have him geared out yet. But if he's still hitting like that with you having him geared out, then I can see how that would be a problem. That's
His third ability can sometimes nuke a person, which is nice. And his AoE, if there's a couple of people dead, does respectable damage, but nothing to get really excited over.
okay. And then the other character you looked at was Shazam.
Now, Shazam, I know some people said they weren't thrilled with him. I personally think he's actually like on the high end of very good. He does very low damage. I mean, very low damage. His basic hits as weak, if not weaker, than Black Adam's. And his third ability doesn't do a lot of damage, but his taunt has a 50% chance to get damage immunity. And I think his overheal is either bugged or it just does a super, super tiny amount that you can't really even see. I only have him legendary 1, so you need that. You want to have that stun to proc I mean, he can take a hit. Like he can take hits from, I've had Huntress do her big shot and he takes a good hit.
That's
So
pretty impressive. So the physical characters are not taking him down.
I use him actually in red alerts a lot, and you know how hard they hit in red alerts.
Yeah.
Um, and I can keep him alive because his taunt comes up so fast, and then he gets the stamina up, so he gets a ton of life back. I actually really like the character, and I'm excited to play him at Legendary 3 or 4. The order I would go with him would be 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now keep in mind I only have him Legendary 1. I don't know if that's definitely the right order, but based on other people who have him higher, who like using him a lot, that's the order they would recommend too. So he's a character I think has a lot of potential, so I am excited to get him up a little higher. And he also will pair well with Power Girl. I think there's some synergy to be had there. So when I get him
Cool.
higher and Power Girl comes out, you'll see it. I have a ton of video of Black Adam and Shazam, so if you're watching the YouTube version of this, you'll see a ton of matches with them.
I just remember back when we first started playing this game, and you spent a ton of money getting Shazam, and you were so heartbroken whenever you got him to Legendary 1. I just
Yeah, I wanted to
remember.
have one of those really rare characters. I broke whenever they had one of those obscene sales they did with him, and then I geared him out, and he was horrific in the old meta, the speed meta, where Castaway Green
Yeah,
Arrow or one of those could
Castaway
just,
ruled the day, and he just did nothing for you. I remember
yeah,
that. You were so disappointed.
yeah, he would just die in 2 shots. I'm so mad. But
I remember. So I don't have Shazam at all. I'm going to be picking him up here when they do the PvP reward, or
yeah,
when
and
they
keep in mind too, if they're consistent, but they've been consistently inconsistent with these sales. But for the last several months, they've had the off week months outside of the paywall character. They do the 250 shards. They'll do the 24.99 sale with the
Yeah, I've
60
been grabbing
shards and
those. I
6,000
mean, I've
gems.
been staying pretty much free to play, but I've been grabbing those $24 ones just because I feel like those are a good opportunity for me to get a little extra shards and try to build up my character base
You
a
do
little
know
bit.
that the free to players are going to crucify you for that one, but
And I'm fine with that. I can
because you're not
accept
free to
that.
play.
I guess technically I'm no longer free to play.
Yeah. Um,
So, and then you wanted to talk about Cyborg Superman real quick a little bit.
Yeah, just because he was a hero event, he's one of the best characters in the game in my opinion. He's definitely in my top 10, top 11. If you get him, Legendary 2 is all you need with him. Take his Can't Mist and take his Laser Beam Eyes so you can get rid of immunities. And that's really all you need. The rest of it is gravy. I personally would go 2 next and then 4, 5. I rarely use him as leader. His leadership's not terrible. It's just there's usually a better choice for a leader. His crit on this 4, because it happens after he does his boulder, you really don't get a whole lot of value out of it. So I would probably go with his 2, which is his affinity up. It makes it so that physical characters do 0 damage to him pretty much.
Right,
So
makes him super tanky.
that's why I would grab him if you're legendary 3. I actually didn't take that one. I took everything but 2. So if I ever taken a legendary 5, I'd grab that. But I don't. I mean, it's not super important. I think just the 1 and the 3 are the ones you really need. But he's a phenomenal character.
Yep, I've been playing his event here and getting his shards. I've already got him to legendary 2, and I can see how valuable he is. Hey,
Hey,
I'm Brennan.
I'm Dale, but you have to call me Dragon.
You have to call me Nighthawk. Alright, so let's talk about some topics in the community right now. Topic that we wanted to talk about earlier with the Superboy event for everyone to get the Superboy shards is going to be after he is already the main 5-point Alliance Challenge hero for that week. So the free-to-play players are not going to be able to keep up with the Alliance Challenge unless there's something happening that we don't know about. The community's pretty upset about it.
Yeah, there was a post by Alum XP, which I completely misunderstood it at first, which we clarified in the discussion. But yeah, this is pretty crappy because we don't even know if they're going to release the good sale that us whales always want to get buy with the 250 shards plus the 25,000 gems. So right now all they have is the 24.99 sale that really only gets you to rank 2 on any character. So if that's the only sale we're getting, I doubt it. I would think that probably Thursday we would see the normal sale that anybody who buys a lot of gems typically relies on to stock up for the month. But if even with that, if you're free to play or don't want to spend that kind of money, that is pretty crappy because it makes it so
Well,
that
I mean, it makes any alliance that has a bunch of free-to-play players at a disadvantage for that
well, even
week.
if you're not free to play, if you just don't want to buy
Yeah, if you
that
don't want to
big
spend
pack.
that $25 on that, yeah.
Well, no, it's more. That's the $100 one. Or I guess you could buy the $25 one that's
You could
out.
just buy 25 and just unlock him, but
Yeah, but I mean, still, he's going to be ranked 2. It's going to be difficult to PvP with him. It's going to be, I mean, PvE content's a joke, but it'd be difficult to PvP.
yeah, well, at that point, you're just going to throw him on a team with Deathstroke, which is going to really piss everybody off because you're going to have more Deathstroke PvP teams out there.
Yeah,
So that, I mean, because what else are you going to do with him at basically a 1-star regular?
yeah, that's the thing that's been bothering me about some of these sales I see, and I know I posted that about the 24.99 sale, and I was pretty cheesed off, but I had just froze 2 times in a row using Red Hood and had a few cocktails for the new year, and then that sale dropped, and I was
It's
expecting
everybody else's fault. Go ahead.
yeah, and then I burned my gems down to nothing, and was expecting to be able to restock with Superboy that evening, and they,
He
I
he
should know
wasn't there.
better. They're consistently inconsistent with their stuff. So, but if that's our only avenue to get him, going forward, if they decide not to do that, I think that could be a death knell for a lot of us. I know I won't buy gems unless it comes with shards at this point because it's already outrageously expensive.
Sure. So, I mean, let's talk about that sale real quick since you brought it up. It's $25. You get 100 hero fragments altogether. You get 25 of Superboy, 25 of Power Girl, 25 Shazam, and 25 of Black Adam.
I mean, I personally thought it was a garbage sale when I first saw it. I guess it's not as bad as I originally gave it credit for. I mean, you do get 62.5 shards or
No,
gems per shard. If you need all 4 characters, I guess it's not horrible. It's better than the 80 you would get normally. The way if you were to buy the 100 shards for 8,000 gems.
and they've got a 10. Oh no, there's no limit. Is there a limit on how many you can buy,
I don't think so. It doesn't look like it.
or do you just buy it once and it disappears? It doesn't even say.
No, I think you can buy as many as you want.
Okay.
So, I mean, but when you're looking at, if you want to take every one of those characters, if you want to get a character to Legendary 1, you would have to buy $250 worth, which is
Yeah.
insanity, and that doesn't gear any of those characters.
No.
It just goes back to this game is horrifically overpriced anyway. But,
Yeah. When I got to tell you, when I first saw the sale, I was kind of excited because it was like, oh wow, we're gonna get these characters early. But then, just like you were saying, I thought about it and I'm like, I'm not getting any gems with this, so I'm literally getting 25 shards, and I don't even think it unlocks Power Girl, does it?
yeah, it does. I mean, you get Power Girl, but I mean, you get her for free for the event.
Yeah, they're
so.
right. You get Power Girl and Superboy unlocked, so it does unlock both of them. I thought she was 50.
Yeah, but
Um,
Black Adam or either Black Adam or Shazam, it doesn't.
It's Shazam. I don't think it does. Maybe that's
Yeah.
who it was. I knew there was somebody I looked at and thought, well, that's not even going to unlock him for me. Yeah, it's Shazam. You need 90.
Yep. So I don't know. I just for some
Okay,
reason that
so
sale.
the gem the gem per shard isn't that bad, but it still seems like a crap sale. I don't I don't
Yeah, I mean,
necessarily
it
like it.
just strikes me. I mean, it makes if you just want to spend 25 bucks and lock the character early, that's fair. It just I don't know. The time it rankled me is kind of greedy. Just like the Superboy coming out during the before his PvP week.
Yeah,
Just
so basically, if your free to play players are going to have to spend this $25 just to even participate in that week.
yeah, and it just these little greedy things when you haven't added any new content in eons, you haven't fixed any bugs that for the last paywall character that came out almost a month ago.
Yeah.
It's like come on guys, you gotta step up your customer service game a little bit if you're gonna.
Speaking of bugs, let's talk about the iPhone X real quick. I've been having a lot of issues with it. I guess you haven't had some of the issues or hadn't noticed them, but when you click on in PvP when you're trying to select who you want to attack, sometimes it selects the wrong person, and that's actually cost me some PvP matches. You obviously haven't noticed it.
Yeah, I mean I've been playing on my I don't play on my phone too often. I usually play on my iPad, but with all the traveling, I actually did a lot of PvP on my phone, and I've never noticed that. So
Yeah, it's been an issue for me just because when you're trying to take out Deathstroke and you click on someone next to him and accidentally kill him, now you just made your match a lot worse. And it has been the difference in the match for me a couple of times, but most of the time it's not an issue. If it hits the wrong person, it hits the wrong person. It doesn't really affect the match.
I
But it
think you just
has,
have fat fingers.
I mean, it could be that too. So the other issue with the iPhone X is the when you're going to your heroes and you're trying to gear them out, you select a piece of gear that you want to find, and you click on that gear, and it shows you the events where you can get it. On the iPhone 10, it covers up your Speed Force and then Battle Essence that you need. Covers up the rarity of the drop, but I figured out a way around it. There's going to be a little video in the YouTube video for hate mail. You can see what I'm talking about. But basically, if you click on the event, it takes you to the event, and then you just hit the back button. It takes it a second to load, and while it's loading, you can actually see how rare the drop is for that item. So that's just the way I do it real quick, so I can see, and I don't have to memorize which ones are the best ones to click for different types of gear. So if that helps you out.
Yeah, and I never noticed it because I mean I haven't upgraded gear on my iPhone. I did a lot of PvE farming while I
But
was
I
driving.
heard you just pay someone to do it for you.
No, that's I do have limits, but
All right, another community hot topic. Let's talk about the new PvP system. I've been using it for a while now, and I'm not super happy with it. Yeah, it's a lot harder for me to stay up in the top.
and you're referring to the the new three
Yeah,
star
the
system.
3-star system where if you lose a character, you get less stars, and I just it's a lot harder for me to stay up into the area where I want to stay, the rank I want to stay to get the shards I'm looking for. It costs me a lot more gems to do it.
Well, I personally think I actually surprised. I didn't think it was going to make any difference, but it does seem like it's helped one get cut down the death stroke, not get rid of, but it has cut it down some because people don't want to,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
want to
they're
get more stars, so you're not going to use Deathstroke if you don't have to.
but I have a hard time feeling sorry for the people that typically get 18 to 20 points per match because now instead of I feel like when you're looking at the top 100, you're actually seeing stronger teams now, not so many of the really wimpy teams at the top. So
Hmm.
I do think it's having a little bit of a positive effect in that aspect, just because the lower teams don't get quite as many stars. They don't get near quite as many stars as they were getting. So it does seem like it's a little bit of a balance because you kind of expected the free to play and the people that stayed at Gear 9, Gear 10 still to have a little bit harder of a time than the people at Gear 11. So I do feel like it accomplished that to a somewhat agree. I still don't think the PvP system they've come close to getting it to where it really should be yet, but I felt like it was a step in the right direction just because it cut out a little bit of the Deathstroke teams and it seemed to give not put the people that had strong rosters at such a disadvantage in points.
Yeah, I definitely see less. I still occasionally will have to refresh because I have nothing but Deathstrokes on my board. Deathstroke Baby Lobo combo, sorry. If it's just Deathstroke, I don't mind. I'll take him out. But if it's Deathstroke Baby Lobo, I just don't even waste my time. It's not worth it because I'm not going to get enough stars for it to be worth my time. I'd rather refresh my board. But it costs me a lot more to refresh the board to get, I'm spending more gems refreshing boards to get battles I can win. So ultimately, it hurt me quite a bit.
I haven't heard that from too many of the free to play, and if you want to chime in on the comments, let me know if you're free to play, if you're feeling a big difference. Slow Beast has, a gap in characters, so that might have a little bit to do with it.
Yeah, maybe.
But I know I've seen I've seen more complaints from Deathstroke users than the people that really relied on the Deathstroke Baby Lobo combo to climb the board.
Maybe it's just because of the area where I'm sitting at. There's just a bunch of Deathstroke Baby Lobos now.
I see less. It depends. I
All
get
that annoyance that you had up there is now moved down. I don't know.
I don't mind if Red Hood wasn't bugged, it wouldn't bother me at all because I still will use Red Hood bugged over other characters. Even though I can beat them with other characters, it still just takes forever with Red Hood.
Yeah,
You can
I
clear
use
it fast.
the Hal Jordan Arcus combo, and that usually kills in 2 moves. I can kill Deathstroke because Hal Jordan will take away all his buffs, and then Arcus 2 shots him.
Yeah, it takes longer with it's still faster for me to use Red Hood, close out my game and reboot the app and go in. But
Yeah,
it's just annoying.
it really is. So I guess we'll have to see what other people have to say about it. If we get a big feedback that I'm just being a baby, then that's fine.
I wish they would make it so defensive wins counted for more again, and I think that would
Yeah,
possibly balance it out a little more.
yeah, because your stronger teams, obviously, the wins you get from defense that could boost you up quite a bit. Yeah, there you go.
Because originally they got rid of it because of the boosting issues we saw, because you could just you could lose over and over and over to a person. But once they made it so that you only get you only lose points and the other person only gains points once, that fixes that problem. So you could go back to 8 or 12 or whatever it is.
Right.
So defensive wins actually mean something.
Yeah.
So that'd be something I'd like to see eventually.
Well, hopefully they'll dial it in and get it to where nobody feels like they're being slighted. I mean, that would
Yeah.
if you were complaining and I was complaining, then I think we're both probably happy.
Yeah.
All right, and you just want to do a quick year in review and talk about the year that we've had and see what all's come out this year. I mean, some of the stuff that I was looking at as you're putting it together, and it seems like wow, it's been a whole year since that happened. But
Yeah, so the game released last November, so we had the annual in November, but I figured today we're recording right now, it's January 2nd, so we thought we'd look back at the year and when we saw stuff, and I was kind of looking at the dates and when things came out, and it's funny, the game pretty much from release and then more so January through March, the game was pretty much about the double arrows. There wasn't any major feature changes so much. But Emerald Archer, Green Arrow, Castaway Green Arrow, usually Flash, and then Suicide Squad Deadshot or Wonder Woman Champion of the Amazons.
hmm
Those were the primary top teams, and it was all about turn meter down with
yep,
Castaway Green Arrow.
and strength down.
Yep, and strength down. So that was pretty much the meta for a good while. I mean, we went months and months and months. I remember getting frustrated against Castaway Green Arrow. And then in March, they released Aquaman, and we also got Siren and Miro, who were kind of afterthoughts at the time. But Aquaman was the big game changer with the crit, and I remember the board was just almost as filled as they were Deathstroke. You would just see Aquaman, and this I think Supergirl started to emerge. Her initial emergence
Yeah,
was somewhere
she
around that time
very
frame.
quickly after Aquaman, I remember her coming out because that pretty much ruined the arrows.
Yeah. Then in April is actually when we got our Void Scanner and Legendary missions. So Legendary missions were a pretty big, good, positive change, being able to get the extra green essence and the gems. And then in May, to combat arrows that had been frustrating everyone for a good 6 months at this point, was Reverse Flash. He was a game changer. He created the new super speed meta, but he did also help nullify the arrows. And then we also got red alerts. That was the first big PvE content, and unfortunately the last big PvE content we
Yeah, I know
got.
it's surprising. All the way back in May is the last time that we got any new PVE stuff.
I was hoping when I was going back to this, I was hoping that maybe I was just thinking of it wrong and that it hasn't been, going on, 2/3 of a year before we got PvE content. But that was the last time we got any. Then in June to combat Reverse Flash, we got his counter, which was Wonder Woman DOJ. So she definitely was a game-changing person. And during all this time, the Supergirl meta emerged when that became the Ultra Team: Supergirl lead, Wonder Woman DOJ, Castaway Green Arrow, and Reverse Flash. I remember that was the team to beat for a good while, and it was really challenging.
Yes.
Then in July they hired Warner Brother Jensen. He or she was, I think it was a he. No offense to you, Stanner, you haven't had the chance to prove your infamy like Jensen did. Everyone loved Jensen. I think that was because Jensen told us stuff they probably weren't allowed to, and really communicated constantly.
I was actually gone during this time when this person was your
Yeah, we
community
all
manager, so I didn't get to see how the responses and stuff you were getting.
Yeah, he brought all kinds of just gave us information early, talked to us about bugs, talked to us about what they were working on. That was like the one time there was a lot of communication. And around this time too, we also got those very strange podcasts that we would get from the game, but sometimes we would learn stuff, sometimes they wouldn't really say much. Mostly it was about chemo and chemo jokes,
They
but
do love chemo,
or
which it
chemo.
shocks. Yeah, either way, we're gonna go with chemo because of the year
But
you had.
actually, I want to go away from chemo because we'll go chemo so I can actually play the character one day. And I think that Ogre Barbarian told me that's what I should call him so that I don't have such an aversion to him.
Yeah, but I'm surprised we haven't seen a rework or anything from him yet.
Yeah, I
With
thought
as
they were
much
going to
as
make
they
him the
love
most
him,
powerful character in the game, but
right?
so anyway, then in September, that's kind of I kind of marked September as when the best thing happened to it, which was Gear 11. I was actually not happy with them going to level 80 at this point in Gear 11 because it was, I was getting to a point where I was like, all right, I'm gonna be able to finish off all my characters here in the next couple months. And then Gear 11 happened. But Gear 11 was probably the best thing that's happened to this game in my opinion. That they used Gear 11 to fix so many of the characters, make it so the characters don't die in one turn. The game was great, but they made the mistake of releasing Deathstroke and Lobo. And Deathstroke
Wow.
and Lobo was
In their
Deathstroke.
defense, they didn't realize everyone was gonna stop gearing Lobo at
Yeah,
level
Lobo
or
would have been great if you didn't leave him as a baby.
right.
And we won't go into that whole
Yeah, I think
horse and
we've
pony
talked about
show.
it.
We beat that to death. But that's kind of when, in my mind, when the game started really taking a negative turn after a good month of that. And as we can see by the year in review, just looking at the months, how long it took before, real changes happened. Could be a while before we see this. I mean, it's starting to die off, so I'm not as concerned about that part of it as I was if they fix the freaking bugs. In November, we got Steppenwolf, who ended up being a top-notch character, and then in December, Red Hood came out. We got our Christmas bugs with Red Hood.
Ew, ew, bugs everywhere.
So,
Oh, to be fair, they threw that in for free. There
yeah,
was no charge
exactly.
for any of the bugs.
Yeah, and they're leaving them available to you for quite some time. But I don't know. For those of you that didn't see my posts, I do want to thank the community. We touched on earlier. For those of you that didn't know, late last year I got cancer and prognosis was not very good. I was stage 3C, and then on my third round of chemotherapy, I had cardiac arrest from it, which I guess 1% of the unlucky population has that happen to them. I'm relatively young. I'm only 36 years old. I was in good health when it all happened, so it was quite a shock to me and my family. And nobody in my family's ever had cancer, but thankfully had my little Christmas miracle. I don't remember the month of December, that's why I'm a little hazy on some of those things that happened in game. But wife was right next to me when it happened, and I was able to be brought back to life and did a clinical trial, and thankfully today I'm cancer free and in great shape. So sitting on the forums and playing this game, that's part of the reason why I think I still kept playing even through some of the annoyances because just chatting with everybody while I was taking flights to Pittsburgh to do that clinical trial and sitting in doctors' offices really kept me entertained during a dark period. So thank you everybody for all the entertainment you provided me and through all those negative times.
You're cancer free now, and hopefully we don't have any more scares like that.
And then for next year, we wanted to talk about what is it that we want to see for 2018. What features, things that we want to have happen in this game that hopefully are on the horizon.
Well, I mean, I think we'd like to see some new PvE content, rather.
Yeah, I really think when we look at red alerts not happening back in May, we're desperately overdue. Chapter 9, I'd like to see just as a simple thing. Obviously, I don't think that'd be enough to satiate what we're really looking for. I
Right.
really want to see alliance raids or some type of end game.
Alliance War type thing, yeah.
Yeah, some kind of real end game content. My wife's been playing Lineage 2 Revolution, and I have to say that game has some amazing graphics and features in it, and it really let me see just how far mobile gaming has come. I mean, that game has more than World of Warcraft, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And just the end game content. A lot of the games we're seeing has these big alliance versus alliance game modes, and I really think that would be something that this game could take and you just
Yeah, they've
provide.
got all the tools there right now. I mean, we've got the alliances. All the alliances have even numbers. We've already seen it in other mobile games. So like, yeah, I would love to see something where we have some kind of alliance versus alliance, or even a content that the alliance could do some kind of mission
Yeah,
where everybody in the
or big
alliance had
raid against a
a
big creature, or
yeah.
clearing board,
Oh
something,
man, that would
anything.
be amazing.
I would love to see like a dark side. I would like to see him released in game, but I want to see him or Brainiac
Be
or
as
one of the
powerful as
big
you should be.
villains. Yeah, be as powerful as they should be, and maybe completing it will give you X number of shards. So if you go all the way through it, you get a lot of shards. If you go only a little ways, you only get a couple shards. So that way, top alliances will unlock
So
them
like
earlier.
kind of like
Eh,
a red alert for alliances,
Yeah, I mean that would be phenomenal.
where you have to
Um,
cooperate as a team. That'd be amazing. So like basically, it wouldn't even free to play players couldn't even argue with that because you really only have to bring one character. Or are you suggesting that the whole alliance brings the whole team?
Anything. Honestly, I don't. However they want to do it, just make it so the alliances that can make it all the way are going to get more faster, and the alliances that don't make it very far get less. They may unlock them slower, but they'll be able to get somewhere. It starts easy and gets harder and harder and harder as you go along.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm in.
and I
Let's
think that
do
would
it.
be fair for everybody. And then, one of the other things I really, really want to see is cosmetic items, because I mean, we've all been going to complaining that certain characters you like the pre-legendary look.
Yeah.
The kind of straw man argument that the developers seem to give us is that you wouldn't be able to tell what abilities they have, but they're gray race, so I don't understand how it's confusing. You see their portrait, so with cosmetic items, one it could be a revenue stream for them because you could
Yeah.
they could sell costumes, but they could also have costumes as rewards for things. So that way, instead of giving a
Well,
ton of
and
shards,
even like holiday events and stuff, they could give out certain costumes and stuff if you
yeah.
completed an event.
But I think that one of the biggest things, and one of the challenges is like we look at, for example, top alliances. The amount of alliance points you get is kind of laughable. So there's really not a big advantage to being a top 10 alliance versus being a top 100 alliance, etc.
Hmm.
But if you got cosmetic rewards or even portraits or something for being the number one or number 10, or even shards to unlock, it could be a currency just to unlock cosmetic items, then free to play players or alliances that, struggle to be towards the top, you're not missing out on anything, but then the top tier alliances can say, hey, look at me, I got a shiny, cool costume. So that you don't
Right.
have a power advantage. So there's a ton of things they could do with that. They could do portraits that look cooler and different. So many games have this, and it's an easy reward that's, especially portraits, would be simple for them to do and wouldn't give someone a power advantage, but they could still show off that they were a top tier of something.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I think that'd be pretty neat. Another thing would be achievements or titles.
And they even have achievements in game, and apparently it works on Android from what I understand. But you don't get anything from it. It's just a little achievements tab, and you see it in game now. So having achievements that once you unlock this achievement, it gives you something. So they could do a rare, like just do a rare character of some kind. So each time you unlock achievement, you get shards for that character. Once you unlock all the achievements, you're legendary 5.
Kind of like they did with Soups for the beating the missions.
Yeah, do it exactly like that. So make it so that's the only way you can get the character by unlocking achievements. I think that'd be a great thing to work towards, and everybody could get to it eventually.
Yeah,
So
that would be pretty neat.
that would be fun, neat. It doesn't have to be a character; it could be something else. But just most games have achievements. Not sure why we don't. I would think it's relatively simple to do in game, in comparison to other things like adding a raid or something. But it would give us something else to work towards.
How do you feel about the bugs?
They gotta fix these bugs. I mean, come on. That's like the number one thing that's driving me crazy right now is just the amount of bugs.
I can tell. Since I've been talking to you, you've mentioned bugs
Yeah, I
probably
probably
100
mentioned this.
times.
Yeah, probably. You people are probably getting sick of hearing me talk about it in this podcast alone.
Any new characters? I mean, I know we talked about it on that one show, but anything particular?
Well, one other thing I want is a freaking play it again button on legendary missions and gears. Just,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't understand why we have to go all the way out and all the way back in over and over and over and over. Because when you're farming, trying to farm, and that's why I only have one legendary 5 character, trying to farm legendary essence, just let me play it again. I'll spend way more gems that way. And so will everyone else.
Yeah, that's true. We would.
I
Or if
mean,
you could just set like play it until I've met this amount.
I mean, that would be nice too, but even if I could just
That'd be
push play it again
brilliant.
over and over and over, and then same thing with gear. Instead of just buying one and running it 3 times, let me buy 25 of them or 100 of them because I'm gonna do it over and over. But it's just drives me crazy. Let me
Yeah.
just push the button.
Button pushing, button pushing.
Yeah. We talked about Alliance Wars already. We would love to see that.
Yep.
Some type of new PvP Crucible type of thing, where you use your entire roster until everybody's dead. Anything like that. Just give us some other game modes. Maybe another PvP mode that's slightly different. That's would be interesting. And then new characters. The one that's missing that I want to see most is Starfire.
I do love you some Starfire.
I do. She's one of my favorites.
I agree with you 100%. I'd love to see some. I think PvE content's the biggest thing I want to see. I like doing PvP, but PvE content or even alliance like raids or wars, I think would be the biggest things I want to see
Yeah,
this year.
we just need hard content that's not PvP.
Yeah, I think
We
everybody.
need a challenging. It's got to scale up to where, a high where you want to be legendary 5 gear 11 level 80 to complete it. Like there needs to be something that gets that hard.
I'm in. Let's do it. And as always, we'd like to thank all our patrons, but we have a new patron we'd like to thank, and that is.
William, I won't say your last name because I don't know if you want that publicly announced, but I do want to thank you, William, for becoming a patron. We really appreciate the support. Do you like the show? Consider becoming a patron and get a special show each month, our special Q&A episode. It's only $1 to have access to this. Check it out at patreon.com. We RRR Legends.
Thanks for listening. You're not going to say anything?
are legends.